Ready to dive into the mind of a true Renaissance man.
Sounds intriguing.
We're exploring the works of Blaise Pascal,
Ah, the 17th century genius.
the one and only mathematician, scientist, but also,
A deep thinker.
exactly, Pascal grappled with faith, reason, the whole human condition.
I've always found his blend of scientific rigor and spiritual exploration so fascinating.
It's pretty unique, right?
Definitely. He wasn't afraid to ask the tough questions, to really embrace paradox.
And that's what makes him so relevant, even today.
Absolutely.
For this deep dive, we're going into excerpts from his Pensées.
His thoughts on philosophy and religion.
Yes, and also his provincial letters.
And now those were controversial in their time.
They really stirred things up.
So,
It's like we're uncovering these hidden gems of insight from centuries ago.
and, to really appreciate Pascal, we need to understand the historical context of his writings.
Okay, like what?
Well, he was heavily influenced by the Jansenist movement,
Sure.
a strict Catholic sect that really emphasized human fallibility.
And the need for God's grace.
Exactly.
Interesting.
They often crashed with the Jesuits, another powerful Catholic order at the time.
Oh,
This conflict really shaped a lot of Pascal's work.
so it's like his writings are coming out of this intense theological debate.
You could say that, yes. It adds another layer of complexity to his ideas.
For sure.
And you see this Jansenist influence really strongly in his concept of the two infinites.
Two infinites.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cosmic.
It is. It explores the vastness of the universe on one hand,
Okay.
and then the intricate complexity of the human soul on the other.
So like outer space versus inner space.
You got it.
Let's break down this two infinites idea a bit more.
Sure. Imagine yourself looking up at the night sky,
Okay.
feeling totally overwhelmed by how massive the universe is.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's that sense of awe and insignificance.
Kind of terrifying too, right?
Pascal actually uses the word terrified. He talks about the eternal silence of these infinite spaces that fills him with dread.
It's funny, I get that same feeling when I think about how vast space is.
It's a common human experience, this feeling of being humbled by the vastness of the cosmos.
Zodiac.
But then Pascal takes this idea and flips it. He plunges into the infinitely small.
Like the microscopic world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's saying that just as the universe is vast and unknowable,
Right.
so too are the depths of the human soul.
Whoa, so he's not just a cosmologist. He's also delving into, like...
The inner space of human consciousness.
Precisely.
This is where his idea of the thinking read comes in, right?
Bingo.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me about this thinking read.
It's this beautiful analogy that really captures the paradox of human existence.
Okay.
Picture a reed, fragile enough to be broken by the wind,
Right.
yet capable of grasping the infinite through thought.
Oh, that's powerful. He's acknowledging our physical vulnerability while at the same time emphasizing the incredible power of our minds.
So we're both insignificant and powerful at the same time.
Exactly. That tension, that paradox, it's at the core of Pascal's whole understanding of human nature.
Makes sense.
He believed this capacity for thought, for grappling with the big questions. That's what makes us unique.
But it's also
The source of our deepest anxieties.
like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, in a way.
So our ability to think is both a blessing and a curse, according to Pascal.
You could say that, yes. He
Lovely.
believed that without God.
Yeah.
Human existence is inherently restless, unfulfilled. He talks about our restless curiosity about things we cannot understand as a symptom of our alienation from our creator.
That's a pretty deep thought.
It is. And that's where you start to see how Pascal's thought goes beyond just science and philosophy.
Right.
He's making a theological point here about the human condition.
He's weaving together all these different threads, reason, faith, existential questions.
Right.
It's really quite insightful.
Absolutely. That's what makes Pascal so captivating. His writing challenges you and makes you really think.
I'm definitely ready to dive deeper.
Let's do it. This actually leads us to one of Pascal's most famous ideas,
Oh, yeah.
the concept of diversion.
Diversion. Like,
It's like what we do to avoid being bored.
oh.
Pascal argued that we as humans are constantly seeking distractions.
To, like, avoid.
Confronting the anxieties of life.
Without God.
Right.
Interesting.
He observed that people immerse themselves in things.
In things.
Like games or gossip or the pursuit of wealth,
Yeah?
to try to escape those deeper questions of existence.
It's like he's describing
I know,
modern society,
That is amazing.
their obsession with entertainment and social media.
Yeah, and always needing something to fill the void.
Always needed to be distracted.
It was really ahead of his time.
Yeah, it was.
Centuries before the internet.
Yeah.
Pascal recognized this human tendency to want to be distracted.
Right.
So interesting.
This aversion to stillness and introspection.
Mm-hmm. But if diversion is the problem,
Right.
then what's the solution? What did he say?
Well, Pascal believed that faith in God was
Mhm.
the ultimate answer to this restlessness.
Okay.
He proposed what's known as Pascal's wager.
Oh.
That's like a thought experiment
Okay.
that kind of frames belief in God as a calculated bet.
I've heard of that. It's always struck me as a bit of a gamble.
It is.
No pun intended.
But Pascal argues it's a gamble worth taking.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you wager on God's existence,
Right.
and you're right, you gain eternal life.
Okay.
But if you wager against God,
Yeah.
and you're wrong,
Oh.
the stakes are infinitely higher.
You're really risking it all.
And if you wager on God,
Yeah.
and you're wrong,
Yeah.
well, you haven't really lost anything.
I see what you mean.
Pascal wasn't trying to prove God's existence with logic.
Right.
He was exploring the idea that faith is a leap.
With potential for huge rewards. Exactly.
This makes me think about Pascal's own life.
Okay, yeah.
Wasn't there a significant event involving his sister?
You're talking about the miracle with his sister Jacqueline.
Oh, is that her name?
Yeah, she was a nun at Port Royal.
Okay.
And she suffered from a severe illness.
Really?
But she was suddenly healed.
What happened?
She touched a sacred relic.
Wow. That's amazing.
It really deepened his belief in miracles.
Yeah, I bet.
It solidified his commitment to Jansenism.
I can see how that would affect someone.
You know, this event highlights the interplay between faith and reason.
Yeah, I see that.
It seems like Pascal was wrestling with these questions.
On like a personal level, too.
Definitely.
And not just intellectually.
You can see this struggle throughout his writing.
Like where?
For example, even while grappling with faith, he didn't shy away from critiquing religious institutions.
Oh, that's right. Like the Jesuit?
Exactly. His provincial letter.
Yeah, those were really controversial.
They were a scathing critique of what he saw as moral laxity.
Within the Jesuit order.
Right.
Interesting.
He especially took issue with their practice of casuistry.
Casuistry. Now, that sounds complicated.
It's essentially this complex system of moral reasoning
Okay.
that Pascal felt allowed them to justify anything.
Really?
Anything. Even actions that seemed morally questionable.
Right.
Well, he was really troubled by their lenient views on lying, stealing, even violence.
Wow.
All justified through these elaborate theological arguments.
So he saw it as a form of hypocrisy.
Exactly. He believed they were twisting things
to fit their own agenda.
Yes, and he wasn't afraid to call them out.
Good for him.
And he did it in such a clever way.
Oh, yeah.
The provincial letters are actually incredibly witty and satirical.
It's like he's using logic and reason
I know, right?
to point out the flaws in their system.
Yeah, and what's amazing is they became a literary sensation.
Really? People liked reading them.
People were captivated by his writing and his boldness.
It sounds like Pascal was a man of many talents.
He really was a brilliant scientist and mathematician.
Deep thinker.
And a gifted writer.
He wasn't afraid to challenge authority.
That's for sure.
It's this multifaceted nature
Yeah.
that makes exploring his writings so rewarding.
Absolutely. And even today,
Yeah.
his insights into human nature and faith still resonate with us.
You know, it's amazing to me how Pascal's work kind of brings together all these different areas.
Yeah.
Like science, philosophy, and theology. You know, it's like he's showing us that they're all connected somehow.
You've hit on something really important there.
Oh, yeah.
Pascal was fascinated by those connections.
I can see that.
A perfect example is his analysis of the three orders.
Three orders.
Yeah. Nature, mind, and charity.
Okay.
It's a complex concept.
I bet.
But it really gets to the heart of how Pascal viewed the world.
Okay, break it down for me. What are these three orders?
Well, Pascal argued that they represent these different realms of existence. And they don't necessarily flow logically from one to the other.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, he believed the natural world, you know.
Like the realm of science.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He said that can't fully explain the human mind.
Our thoughts and creativity and all that.
Exactly.
So there's more to us than just our physical bodies.
Right. And he takes it even further. He says, the order of mind, as powerful as it is, can't fully explain the order of charity.
Charity.
Yeah, like the realm of love and selflessness and spiritual connection.
Oh, okay.
He saw that as a higher order,
Hmm, interesting.
one that goes beyond just logic or reason.
So he's not saying science or reason are bad,
No, not at all.
but he is saying that they have limitations.
Exactly.
There are things about being human that we can't just observe or analyze,
Precisely.
and that's where faith comes in.
Right. Pascal believed the order of charity,
Okay.
that realm of the heart.
Oh.
It could only be accessed through faith and a connection with God.
This is really making me rethink things, you know?
What do you mean?
Well, it's like Pascal saying we need to engage our hearts,
Yeah.
not just our minds,
That's a great insight.
to really understand the world.
He challenges us to move beyond just an intellectual understanding, to embrace the mystery and the complexity of life.
And to remember there's always more beneath the surface.
Exactly. More to explore and more to understand.
It's like he's saying we should always be learning.
Keep that curiosity alive.
Yeah, always searching for deeper meaning,
And never be afraid to ask those difficult questions.
even if the answers are hard to find.
Pascal was a master at embracing paradox.
And he wants us to do the same.
Yeah.
Wow, this deep dive into Pascal has been incredible.
He's such a challenging thinker.
But so rewarding, too.
I agree.
His ideas really make you think critically.
And to question what you think you know.
I love that about him.
He wasn't one for easy answers.
Definitely not.
But that's what makes him so relevant even today. Pascal's work shows us that the search for truth, it's a lifelong journey.
It really is.
And it's often in wrestling with doubt and uncertainty that we find the most profound insights.
So well said.
He encourages us to embrace the complexities of life
Yeah?
and to never stop questioning.
And never stop exploring.
Exactly.
Well, after this deep dive into Blaise Pascal, the question is,
What is the question?
what will you explore further?